Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I've got a weekend project for you today where we're going to repair my daughter's car for under $400. Let's go take a look and see what she's done. Yeah, she had a little bit of a mishap in town here in Springfield and decided to lightly bump into the rear hitch of a vehicle that was in front of her. So let's go see what that done to her car. There it is. So guys, as you can see in here, you can tell right there where the hitch went right into the back of there. So it's a nice little car. She was actually in the process of already getting her a new ride, so she works her job and now she's got a nice little Jeep Compass, which she really likes. Oh no, it's not a Jeep Compass, it's a Jeep Cherokee Latitude is what she bought. And my daughters like to do things together. That's my other daughter's car that I just put up for sale, and she's been driving that for about 2.5 years. She's getting ready to go off to Mizzou to college, and we got her something that's a little newer with a lot less mileage on it. Actually, it's right up there. And she got her a Altima that is a one-owner car with like 56,000 miles on it. So this isn't a high-end repair job by any means. We'll talk about that a little bit more inside where the heat's on. All right, so I just walked into the shop and I've got my trusty sidekick Angela here, and she is already to work on this bumper cover. So this is an aftermarket bumper cover that already comes pre-primed, and all we're going to do to it is go ahead, and she's already taken the red scuff pad, a Scotch-Brite, and scuff the whole thing up, make sure she gets in all the little nooks and crannies. Now what she's doing is taking wax and grease remover, and she's going to go over that twice. And once she gets done with that, we'll be ready for a final wipe down before I put sealer on it. And the reason why I'm going to put sealer on it is that will actually cover up any of the fine scratches from a red scuff pad, since I'm doing a metallic paint. But also, sometimes this cheap primer from these cheap aftermarket bumpers, there can be a reaction between your base coat and your cheap primer on here. So what I'm going to do to prevent that from happening is go ahead and put one solid coat of sealer on here, and that will prevent any of that from happening. So my next step is I've already started getting my area set up over here, getting all my products out, getting my gun out. Best thing you can do, guys, is when you're getting ready to paint, make sure you got everything ready to go. Make sure all of your stuff is out. Make sure you have everything. Now the good thing is, I had a lot of leftover stuff from previous jobs that I've done, and all I needed to do was just go get some base coat mixed up. That's all I had to buy. But this whole project, and I'll give you the grand total at the end, is going to be relatively inexpensive compared to you taking it to a shop and getting it repaired. And actually, guys, this is a pretty simple repair. So I'll get back with you in a minute. My better half doesn't waste any time at all. She is already over here doing our final step prior to paint on the cleaning step. Now we'll still need to tack rag it before now, but this is the way I like to clean all surfaces, where we'll take 2 times with wax and grease and just use a normal paper towel with that. I'm not going to use my high-end lint-free cloths, but when I do the final wipe down, I use isopropyl alcohol, and that is what she is doing right now. And she's going to go ahead and make sure it is all cleaned up really nice with the isopropyl alcohol. And we're going to try not to touch it anymore at this stage, not unless we got clean gloves on. And my last step before putting sealer on here is going to be running the tack cloth over it. All right, guys, I think it's worth mentioning that this is absolutely not what I would consider a professional job. Now, one thing always to consider if you're going to paint just a panel on a car, is going to be panel match. Now on a bumper cover or a front bumper cover specifically, especially one that has this many angles on it, you can get by with a little bit more if the color is not spot on. Now what you can do is you can go down to your local paint store, and these guys are there to help you. They've got a machine. So what I did was took a piece off of Lauren's car, off of her bumper, that had already been hit. I tore a piece off of that. I got a piece about this big. That was why the hole was a little bit bigger. Polished it. I buffed it and polished it to make sure it would get a good result on their spectrometer. Took it up there. He color matched it, also using the car's paint code, and they were able to mix me up a custom mix, and I got a pint made up for this, which I'm using a Nason full base, and that gives you a pint and a half of sprayable because it's a 2-to-1 mix. Now when you want to think about that, it's probably not going to match even still. The true way to do it would be at a shop where either you blend the panels, which would mean you'd have to blend the hood, both front fenders with the bumper, re-clear all of that. That is not what I'm going to do. This is very much a budget fix, and this car is going to be sold. I wanted to sell it better than it is now instead of having a big hole in the bumper. So guys, I'm going to cross my fingers a little bit and hopefully it's not too far off, because I am taking a little bit of a risk, because not doing a spray out and going and checking it in the sun next to the rest of the car, it could be dramatically off. We're going to try this out and we'll see if it works. Now it's time to get this sealer on here. I'll take you over here to the sealer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same gun throughout the whole process. I do have a few different guns, but I decided to go ahead and just use the same gun. I did put my 1.3 in my DeVilbiss GTI Pro Light. Love this gun. And I've got some leftover sealer. This is actually a ready to spray sealer. It's Select Seal by Nason. It's actually a pretty dang good sealer to be a 1K product. What I mean by 1K, it is only a 1-part product. So literally I can take that, pour it straight into here, and it's ready to go. Now the 1K products are not going to be as high of a quality as say a 2K product, but it's going to do just fine for what we need to do on this job. So now let's get this poured in here, and we'll get it set up and ready to go. Probably going to fill it about a third of the way up to maybe half. That'll be somewhere. This is a 22-ounce cup, so we're probably going to need maybe about 10 ounces of material for that bumper cover. It may need a little bit more, but again, since this is a 1K product, I could go ahead and fill it all the way up and put it right back in here since I'm not mixing it. So I may put a little extra in here just to be on the safe side. I'll tack rag it next. We'll get ready to spray it. Go ahead and get a tack rag over everything here. Just kind of look over all the areas. When you're doing your tack rag, you don't really want to just press. You just want to lightly run over it. Getting any lint off. And kind of checking all your edges. Just making sure everything's looking okay. Get any trash. This is going to really help get any of the trash out of it. Any of the lint left over from the rags. Alrighty, it's time to do some painting. Let's get this sealer on here. This sealer just takes one even full coat. It is not recommended to put 2 coats of this sealer on here. So what I want to do is look for even overlap, get about a 75% overlap on each one. All right, mix this full base 2 to 1. Probably going to need, I'm going to say probably to do 2 coats and a drop coat. We'll need 1 full 22-ounce cup, which I'm going to use the PPS container for this. Yeah. Guys, look at the metallics in this. Oh my goodness, look at the shimmering on that and the metallics. That's beautiful. As I did want to show you how this sealer laid down. Laid down pretty doggone slick. Now I'm going to tack rag this sealer and lay some base. Guys, when you're going to put your base coat on, it's very important because remember, 50% of this that's in here is a thinner. If you really slap that first coat of base down where you're looking for coverage, you will make your base coat lift. And what I mean by lift, it will crinkle up on you, especially when you turn around and put that second coat on. So your first coat, you're just looking for a foundation. That's all you're looking for. You're just looking to get it evenly coated, but not for coverage. That way we let it flash really well. I'll probably spend a little extra time letting it flash tonight due to the temperature being a little lower. And then we'll go on our second coat for full coverage, but we'll have that good base coverage for it to grab to. Here we go. Alright guys, I don't know if you noticed, just a quick tip is that I've been mopping and leaving it really wet in this area that I'm working, just to prevent when you're spraying down in any areas of it pushing any of the dust off the floor back up. The first coat went phenomenal, covered outstanding. A lot of that had to do with that gray sealer, which is really similar to this base coat to begin with. That helped a lot. Now we'll have my light gun, or whatever you want to call it, it's my Astrolight, that really helps see. Once I turn this on, it's like turning the sun on. You can really see those metallic sparkle, but you can also see where you may be missing some coverage. So this round right here, I'm really going to be looking for even coverage. I've let this sit about 30 minutes. Typically 10-15 is fine, but again, I am going ahead and erring to the side of caution on with it being a little cooler in here tonight and making sure that this is properly flashed off. So we're going to go ahead and get this next coat on. I'm going to keep this with me in my pocket to kind of check it as I go. Here we go. So now I'm ready for the orientation coat or the drop coat. It's a lot more important to do an orientation and a drop coat, especially on a flat panel or a large panel. It's not nearly as noticeable on, say, a panel like this that has so many small sections and converging angles. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And what you do when you do a drop coat is you're really just trying to orientate the metallics so they're completely even. Also, it helps prevent mottling or tiger striping or blotchiness in the paint. After looking at the sunlight on here, it looks really good, but I would always err to the side of caution when dealing with something with this much metallic in it. I'm going to go ahead and put a drop coat on it. What you do is you're going to back it up about double the distance that you normally would when you're laying your base, and you're just going to dust it on there from a distance. You're not looking for any kind of coverage. What you're wanting to do is just kind of get those metallics oriented. So here we go. All right, boys, it's about time to get this clear on. This is the best part, but also the part you can screw up the quickest. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here on part 2 of this repair job. I'm going to release that later this week. We'll do the clear coat, disassembly, and reassembly on the car and wrap it up. I just didn't want to give you guys a 35-40 minute long video. We'll go ahead and break this up into 2 parts. So stick around for that next one. Be looking for part 2. I'll try to release it this Thursday. I'll see you guys on the next one.